Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining in. Please make sure to follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram at Sadie NLA 96. You don't want to miss out on me speaking with some pretty incredible people because they're awesome and they have some incredible stories. So, many people are familiar with the hit game The Last of Us that came out in 2013. And recently, HBO came out with the series starring Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal. And this is a huge hit. And those are names that you're all familiar with. But I want to introduce you to someone who you may not know of, who's going to be a huge superstar on a Rice, who played the nurse in the final episode, which is episode 9. And if you've seen that episode, it is very intense. And I can't wait to hear Anna's story about that. There's a lot that goes on. But I just want to thank you, Anna, for coming on and supporting my passion project. And I want to know your stories and what got you into acting and some of your aspirations. So please take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sadie, so much for having me. It's an honor, and I'm very excited to get to chat with you.
Me too. So have you done a podcast before?
I have actually, yes. I've done a few, but
Good.
It's always nice to I love it because you just get to chat with different people from different places in the world. So
I know.
I'm all
It's the
for it.
beauty of it too. And I think there's so many interviews now over video, which gives people more opportunities to speak with people who are all over the world. Because I'm in Los Angeles and you're in Canada. So to have this opportunity is such a blessing. So I'm
Cool.
very
Yeah,
excited.
for sure.
And I'm glad you're seasoned with the podcast. So this will make things easier. So just to give people a little sense of who you are, you were originally born in Mexico. Is that Hermosillo?
Correct. Yes.
Is that correct? And when did
It's
you move?
super up north. It's
Mhm.
about a 6-hour, no, it's about a 3-hour drive from the Arizona border. So like the total opposite weather from here in Canada. So I'm having a hard
That's
time adjusting.
completely different. Yes, and Canada is, and you're from Calgary,
Yes,
which gets really, really cold, right, in the winter.
really cold. Yes, like
So
freezing. Like it still snowed like a couple days ago.
I can imagine that weather. I know we talked about you coming to California to soak up the sun, and I want to go to Canada to experience more snow. But so when
We'll
you were,
trade
I know, let's do it.
just for a little bit. I mean, not on my part, but you'll be like, okay,
Sure.
snow is beautiful, but after a week, you'll be like,
Yeah.
this is enough.
And then that's the thing too with Los Angeles. Everyone says you can literally go skiing in the mountains for an hour, then you can drive to the coast and you can go surfing. It's true because we've gone skiing and we've seen the ocean in the same day, which is cool.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. But when it really fascinates me that you were born in Mexico. So when did you ever move to Arizona or did you move straight to Canada? And how old were you?
I did actually. I did move to Arizona. Like I left Arizona um maybe about 6 years ago or something like that.
Oh,
And we
wow.
moved to Canada for my husband's work. So I've only been in Calgary end of 2019, and then beginning
Okay.
of 2020 the pandemic hit because we were like, we'll just be there for a little bit, and then we got stuck. But it
Oh
worked
my
out because
gosh.
then The Last of Us shot here. So then
Yes, absolutely beautiful and such a great opportunity for
it
you.
is honestly like the scenery is absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. It's just the harsh coldness
Yeah,
that my body is not used to.
it's so true. But I've never seen such a beautiful, I guess they're called provinces, right? Because Calgary's
Yes,
in
instead
Alberta.
of
Yeah, I
states.
get
Yeah.
confused. United States and Canada, they're similar, but it's a little different.
There's a little bit, yeah, there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
difference. Sometimes I'll be talking with someone from the US and I'll be like, it was minus 45. And they're like, what? And I'm like, Celsius, Celsius. And they're like,
Yes, you're
oh,
on
okay, that's still
Celsius,
really
the
good. Yeah.
Fahrenheit. We're such an
Yeah.
odd state, honestly. But you mentioned a good point. So when you lived in Mexico, you were there for a majority of your life from
Yes, I was
childhood to
born and
adult.
raised. Born and raised my whole life. I moved
Whoa.
to Vancouver, British Columbia, in
Hmm.
Canada, to study acting. So I went to Vancouver Film School, and that's where I met my husband.
Oh,
And
so
then I
from
kind of did,
that is so cool. So from Mexico to Vancouver.
yeah. And then I kind of did back and forth for a long time, like all the like the 3 countries, like all of North America, like Mexico, US, and Canada for a while. And then we kind of finally settled for the last little bit here in Calgary.
Okay. That is incredible. And so I was looking, I had to do a little bit of research on you, and I know you have your IMBD. Everyone go check it out. And you were in some pretty awesome shows. One was called Tribal. Is that correct? And it's a
Yes, that was my first show ever. Like I've only started acting in 2020, like mid-pandemic.
Oh, so you're just getting started.
Just getting started.
And you're
I've been very lucky. Yeah, thank you.
Extremely lucky. So Tribal was, I wrote down, Justice Department show. Is that correct?
The show's Tribal, and it's a cop drama. It's about how the 2 police forces get combined, like the city. It is shot like they don't. I like it because they didn't pretend. Usually, like they use the Canadian city and they pretend like they're somewhere else. But this one, they were like, no, like we're legit in Alberta, which is the province. So they got to take advantage of all the scenery without like trying to mask anything else, and like iconic buildings here in the city. So that part was really cool.
Oh,
and it's about how the Metro Police gets combined with the task force from the Tribal Police, which I was a part of, and they solve different murders and different cases from like Indigenous people, and so it's very
I would love to check that out.
Very cool.
I saw your reel, and you're awesome.
Thank you.
Your demeanor and the way you just carried yourself was great, and it's a big deal. Were you really nervous?
You know what? It's funny because I wasn't nervous about like the very first time I was on set. I was prepared, like I knew what to do. Like I wasn't nervous about my lines or like my character or anything. But I was so nervous. Like they gave me the call sheet and it looks so intimidating. Like it's just like
I can imagine.
It's so much information, and like the letter is like miniature. So like the night before, like I was studying the whole thing, making sure like I knew like the makeup person's name and like the wardrobe people and like everyone, because I didn't want to be like, I don't know why, but I felt like that was like my major thing that I needed to do. So then once I was there, you know, everybody was so lovely and everybody was so nice, and it was mid-COVID, so it was a very small production, like most of like in the sense like they didn't really allow a lot of people, so most of my scenes were just with the main cast with the 2 leads, so it was just the 3 of us, and they were like the loveliest people, and
very intimate.
So I lucked out for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so very intimate settings, and you felt heard, and just it was a good environment for you because it was your first
for sure
show.
That's very supportive, and I was like, "This is amazing." And my husband's
and
like,
they're like, "Oh, I want to be an actor
it's not
forever."
Always, you're like, it's not always like that, but you lucked out, and I was like,
I'm sure.
Amazing.
That's amazing. And then I saw that you did. Were you part of a movie, Cesar Chavez? Is that correct?
Oh my God!
Yes.
How'd you know that?
I do my research. I know who you are. But I think that's awesome because Cesar, I'm not familiar with the main actor, but I guess his name is Cesar Chavez too. Is that right? So what role did you have in that?
Shoot, I can't recall the main actor name, but if I'm not mistaken, he's like one of the best friends of like Ant-Man in like the first movie, like the first Ant-Man movie. Yeah. And that's so funny. I was still in school,
which is great.
Yeah, like I was still in school. Like I didn't even, I think I even was just like visiting in my city, and they were shooting there, and somebody was like, "You should do it. Like you should go, just audition for it." And I was like, "Sure." And I played a reporter, and I don't even think the scene made it in. Like I watched the whole thing, and I was
didn't. No, can you reenact it right now for me?
Okay. Yes, Sadie, go ahead. I don't even remember, honestly. But I did. I kept his. I had a little notepad.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do like Google it for me, please, right now, who the actor is, because I don't want to.
Let's do it.
I have it at the tip of my tongue.
Okay, Caesar.
And I can.
Chavez Cats, right?
Yeah.
What year? So this was before your Tribal.
Yeah, like way before.
Yeah, I was thinking Michael Pena, not Cesar Chavez. Yes.
Yeah.
In America, Ferrara, which is she's incredible.
Yes. They were all. It was a fantastic cast. I just lucked out. Like I was in school. Like I don't even think I had gone to film school yet. So it's just like they were. Great.
And it's on your resume. That's incredible.
That's
I would
so
love to
funny.
see you in that. I know. But we can move on.
Kind of forgot about that, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. So I want to know, because since you were born and raised in Mexico, I'm guessing the film and television, what you watch is different from the States and in Canada, right? So what made you get inspired to be an actor? Did you watch telenovelas a lot?
Oh my God, I wish. Honestly, my city is so close to the US that we're super Americanized.
Wow.
So like, I know, like the first time my husband and boyfriend went, he's like, oh, no. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I know. He's like, no, I want to. I mean, there's still that part. I'm like, there's still like the culture and authentic, obviously, but we're very Americanized. He's like, well, no. Like he saw like everything that he would see because his family vacationed in Arizona. So he's like, this is just like kind of like in Arizona. Like, I know, I'm sorry. So like all the shows that I watched, all the TV that I watched, it was all American TV.
Wow. I'm blown away by that. And actually, that's kind of an advantage for you too.
For sure. Yeah.
So, and you're bilingual?
Yeah.
That is incredible too. So Americanized a little bit. So that does help. Was there a particular show or movie that stuck out with you and made you say, okay, yes, I want to be an actor for sure?
Yes. Anything Disney, but particularly Cinderella. Like I was obsessed, like Cinderella. Obsessed to the point where like my siblings had to hide the DVD from me because they were like, no, like my mom's like, you could barely even like speak and you already like knew the whole movie in English, like back and forth. Like I don't even know if you knew what you were saying, but you were like quoting it. Yeah, so I just loved it. I like and yeah, for sure. And I used to pretend like every time I would go to Disneyland or Universal Studios, I'd be like, this is my chance. Like I will walk through this red carpet. You know how they have that red carpet at the and I'm like, somebody will spot me. Yes. And there will be that girl. And there was like 5. And my mom's like,
that was a proud moment for you. I can just imagine you doing that as a child. And it's such a beautiful place. And those princess movies are magical, nostalgic. I'm a huge Disney fan.
Yeah, that's amazing. And there's like such strong characters and like a lot of like my favorite quotes are from Disney. And like, yeah. I'm a big dreamer and a big kid at heart.
And that's a beautiful way to become an actor too, is keeping those grounded inside you. I love the Disney princess movies. And there's, I think, the Little Mermaid live action, which I'm really excited for.
I know, me too.
I'm so excited. And you should show your son. I wonder if he'll be into the princess movies too. They're pretty great. My husband loves all of the.
You know what? He does like them. Like I have little figurines of them.
You do? Oh, so you're a fan. You're
like
not
a fan. No. And then like he used to play with them when he was younger, and then now we got a little bit more like a played fight sort of thing. But like I put some, and he just gets sad, and I'm like, I know they are really sad. He's like, Mama, I kind of don't like this, and I'm like, I know they are sad, and he doesn't really like the villains, but
yes.
And I'm like, you gotta watch the whole thing. It has a happy ending. You gotta watch it.
Bambi is heartbreaking.
Oh my God.
That's one of the I haven't seen that in a long time. Even Lion King, those ones really pull at the heartstrings.
We started watching that and he stopped right when Mufasa fell. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But you gotta watch it to get over the trauma.
So my next question was, who are you inspired by? Would it be Cinderella? Like, who's your inspiration for acting? It can't be fictional. There's no right or wrong answer.
I know. Yeah, that's true. But no, I think it's a combination of people and movies and places. But I do look up to like the iconic classic people like Meryl Streep and like
beautiful.
Yeah, like there's just so many and lots of stage actors. They just have a presence and like I can always like I feel like I can always tell them like you're a trained actor. Not that I mean I shouldn't say that because that has really nothing to do with it. But I don't know. I always kind of there's like a nuance or something that attracts, or maybe it's just them, their essence. Yes. Like, yeah, it's just
you can just feel it. I feel it aura sometimes too.
Yeah,
but Meryl Streep. That's a great answer too.
She is like that would be my like I don't even know. Just to be in her presence in the room. Like I'd be happy just to be an extra in whatever she's
doing your research. Find it. I believe in you. Oh, very much.
Thank you.
Well, Meryl Streep's one of my favorite actors because I told you about that. I love to cook. It's one of my favorite hobbies. And one of the first movies that I remember from Meryl Streep was Julie and Julia. Have you seen that one?
For sure. Yeah.
With, Amy Adams. Oh, and ever since then, I've been hooked on that with her because she played Julia Child, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Do you like to cook?
I do, yeah. But I was telling you, like, I like to keep it very simple, like simple ingredients, clean, nothing elaborate. Yes.
Simple.
But I do like home cooked meals. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But Julie and Julia is my favorite with Meryl Streep. I even got the French cookbooks that were inspired by Julia Child.
Oh, nice.
You have to check it out. It's called Mastering the Art of French Cooking. And let me tell you, we use a lot of butter.
Yeah, that I know.
Yeah. But I wanted to segue into kind of your personal life too. So you're a mom, you're an actor, and you're a wife. That's a lot to juggle in a sense. Is that true?
You know what? I'm very lucky because my husband, he's very supportive, and he is definitely my biggest fan, and he does anything and everything to help me succeed.
That's incredible.
It is. I'm very lucky, and I always felt like, and he's an artist as well. Like, that's how we met, like in film school. So I feel like I feel like I needed someone in the industry to understand me and to understand that need to pursue the passion. And so, you know what? I always, like, I remember, because I'm a dancer first. Like, I started dancing when I was 4 years old, and that's kind of how I got into like the magical world of make believe and feelings and expressing your emotions and all that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And then I always, like, people would always be like, oh, just wait till you get into junior high, because it was very demanding. Like, I would be at the studio like Monday through Saturday. Like, as soon as I was able, like a little bit, as soon as I was a little bit older, like they started training me like to help them assist classes and then teaching on my own. So like it was my whole world. And it just, I remember being like, oh, just wait till you get to junior high. Like, you won't be able to be like at the studio that same amount of time. And then I did. And they're like, just wait till you get to high school. And then I did. And they're like, just wait till you get to a university. And then same thing, like, just wait till you get married. And I'm like, just stop telling me.
What the heck is happening?
I know.
All
and then the final one, we're like, just wait till you're a mom. And I have videos of me like rehearsing with my child in my arms because he woke up from a nap. Like, I had him napping in the studio. And I'm just like dancing with him. Like, I danced when I was pregnant. Like, I had a presentation with him. Like, it's just so like just that drive, I think. And like, I don't know, because I am a Taurus. My husband says I'm stubborn, and I'm like determined.
Determined is the word for it.
So for sure, I'm like, I don't know if it's because people kept telling me you're gonna have to give it up type thing.
No.
So I've never seen those. I've never seen being a wife and being a mother as a deterrent or as something that stops me. I see it as something that drives me. Like, I want to set that example for my little guy that you can follow your dreams. You can do whatever you want. You can be, as long as you are kind to people and you're a hard worker and you like follow your path and don't give up. Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Beautiful. Like, it's thrown me a lot of, thank you. Life's thrown me a lot of different curves, and I'm like, thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah.
It's going to take me a while to overcome it, but whatever. Like, this path, I feel like I truly believe is my path. And I've always told my mom, like, since I was a little girl, I was like, it doesn't matter if I'm 75 years old or 85 years old, I will walk that red carpet. And she's like, I believe you. And I'm like, thank you. I will do this.
Seriously, you're making me emotional. That is so beautiful, Anna. Truly.
Thank you.
And that just goes to show you don't have to be labeled. I feel like in society, there's always so many labels. Like, sure. I'm married, and we have 2 beautiful fur babies. Those are my kids. And the pressure of becoming a mother or, raising our own family, so much pressure. And I have so many different aspirations in life. And I think when I do become a mother, I'll be able to still have my own passions, and I'm not going to just have that one label. So that's great. And you have a really good family and husband who's there to support you.
Yeah.
So, but that's really great. I would love to see you on a red carpet at 75, but I think let's back up maybe at 40 years.
Sounds good.
So are you currently auditioning for any roles, if you can say? Or do you have anything?
My last audition I did was over the weekend, I believe, and it was for a feature film where I played a hacker, which is hilarious because I am the worst.
Coding?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yes.
I'm the worst with technology. Like, honestly, like I am cursed. That's why I was like, Sadie, like this is probably a silly question, but is it okay if I do it on my iPad and not my laptop? Because it said on the instructions laptop. And my husband's like, it's fine, Anna. You just need the system. Like, you're okay. And I'm like, I'm gonna ask to make sure.
You're good.
Yeah. So he's like, this is hilarious that you are playing a hacker, which is like part of what attracted me to acting. Like, I just remember when I wanted to do so many different things in life. Like, I wanted to be a doctor and a lawyer, and like, ride a motorcycle, like do a billion different things. And I was like, oh my God, like I only have like the one life, and it's only so long. Like, I can't spend my entire life in school studying like 1,000 different things. And then I was like, oh my God, acting has it all.
It has it all. And you can play whoever you want to be. And it gives you a sort of like little segue into that life.
I find it's a privilege to get to explore all those different aspects that you have within and that you get to share. Yeah.
That is really, I never even thought about it like that too. To have so many different careers through acting. Do you become a different person when you're acting, and do you get to step out of your reality for a sense?
I think it's more like I've always viewed it as it's me plus the given circumstances. Like, what would I do in that situation? Like, if I'm not gonna, like, if I'm playing a murderer, I'm not gonna be like, let's go murder someone. Like, I'm not gonna method act that.
You gotta go feel how it feels.
But it is something that I think it's a privilege, and it makes me very humble that you can have the courage or have a safe space to explore what that would be like, to put yourself and allow yourself to feel those dark places and those dark emotions. And so I think it's always me, which is what I think it makes every actor different and unique, because it's what I believe, a part of you and what you would do. You bring that little bit of an essence to every role.
I like that. And that makes me want to think about, so since you're just starting out as an actor, are you looking for kind of any opportunity that you take, or are you going to read a script, and if it speaks to you, is that something that you're going to want to go to?
Totally honest, right now I'm just auditioning for everything that comes.
You should. Yeah. I'm not an actor. I don't know this, but yeah, I would do the same thing. Yeah, even that's like me. If I lost a job, I want to apply to everything and anything.
Yeah, for sure.
That sparked a little bit of interest. But no, that's great. Get your feet wet. So, preparing for a role too, do you try to really hone in onto that particular role, or do you just...
the way I do it right now is, like, I get the sides, which is sometimes the whole script's not available to you, so they just give you the scene that you're playing, like a little bit before maybe and a little bit after. Okay. You don't get the whole script, especially with big shows like The Last of Us. So you just get your scene, and the first thing I do is like I do a whole read through, and then I just focus on my lines and learning them. And like I'll be like doing the dishes and like reciting the lines, and then I let it go, and then I come back, and then I really like subtext. So like I'll go line by line and being like, what am I really trying to say here? Like, even though the line says I love you, like maybe I'm trying to manipulate you with it, or maybe it really means I hate you, or maybe it means different things. So that's how I like to go into it. And I try not to look at the other characters' lines, just so for me it works and it lands fresh, and like, so then I can really listen and react to it and have like a proper reaction.
Yeah. Almost like your own interpretation almost too. That's incredible. For sure. I think that goes back to like even the auditioning for a role too. You want to interpret it in your own way without diving deep, right? And that helps. That is so
well, because sometimes you don't really have time. Sometimes like they'll give you the sides for like the night before, and you're like, well, you got to make it work in like
you have to wing
6 hours.
Oh man. But good for you. And do you get to practice in front of your husband? Is he a big supporter, just cheering you on? And did you
it was I commented, I think the other day, like, he's like my cameraman, my reader, my light guy, my everything.
He's your techie person, because you don't know anything.
No, I am not. I'm like
So Out of all of the characters that you've played, is there anyone that was the most difficult to prepare for? Even The Last of Us, I feel, was hard.
I think so, because they didn't really give, even like the scene that I did for the audition was not very similar to the actual scene, because it was, everything was so hush hush. Like I didn't even know. Like my husband had an inkling because he played the game, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Anna, I think this is like the final scene." And I was like, "No," because it's just like, no, like I bet you, like you're in the hospital. Like, no, this is it. Like he was so excited, and I hadn't played the game, so
I was gonna ask you. That was
him.
one of my questions. Have
No,
you played the
like I
game?
had
Did you
seen,
even hear
no.
about it? I guess because your
Yes, for
husband
sure.
played the
Like I
game.
knew about it. Yes. So
Yeah.
I had seen my husband play the game, but I get motion sickness really easily. So I was like, this
Right.
looks really cool. Like, and he would call me over like every time, like the little bit of the story would play out. And then when like the movement started, I'd be like, okay, I'm out.
I know. Oh, trust me. I feel you. I need Dramamine when I play.
That's funny.
So yeah, let's segue into The Last of Us. That is, I'm seriously, it's my current hyperfixation. I am not mad about
That's
it. I
amazing.
absolutely love it. Every actor is awesome. But your role, I was thinking, it wasn't a huge verbal role, right? As
No,
opposed to
I mean,
other
we
roles.
had lines, but I had a feeling that they weren't, I don't know why, but like in my mind, maybe because I saw like the way they were shooting it, I was like, I feel like this is how it's going to play it out, like the final product. And it kind of did. Because we did have lines, but you kind of see it more, because I knew it was going to be from his point of view, right? So
Yeah,
I just
Joel's
kind of
point of
thought it was
view.
going to be more, yeah.
Right.
But no, yeah, but those ones are, I feel like those are the harder auditions for me, when it's more, you got to be more still and convey more with your, just your eyes and your expression, especially that one, because like I was completely covered.
Yes, but the mask.
So like, yeah, so like you could basically just only see like this part of me. So basically like all eyes, and you don't want to like overdo it because then you look insane.
Because that's what it is. Joel's,
well, in this case, it was really easy because Pedro Pascal did an amazing job. And like, in fact, like the first time, like the first run through, like we did it, like the director came over and he's like, that was great, but maybe like you see this every day, like this is your life, like you're used to the violence, this and that. He's like, maybe don't act so scared. And I was like, oh no, that wasn't acting, that was just my legit reaction to like Joel telling me to hurry up or no, something like that. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, but you know, you need me to act now. Just, yes, I will do that.
Wow. Because I guess it is that post-apocalyptic time. And so everyone is so desensitized to the violence. So as a nurse, for anyone who doesn't actually know this scene, it's like it's towards the end of the game, and Joel is trying to save Ellie. And you're in the back with a few other nurses getting Ellie prepped for the brain. Oh, I think it's so eerie.
Yeah.
Are you the one who pulled out
I am
IV and it's bleeding?
Yeah.
So,
which I felt so bad. Poor Bella. Like both Pedro and Bella were like the epitome of like niceness and professionalism, and to everyone, to like the crew, that, and you could tell that they had a really good relationship. Like it's just like you could tell they'd been working together for a while, and that they had really good chemistry. And like basically like every time there would be a cut, like, or we were in the green room or whatever, and like they do have that relationship, like that trust and that playfulness, and like, so that was really cool to see. And it felt like a super, I lucked out. It was a super safe environment, but I feel bad because every time I had to pull like I was actually pulling like medical tape from her arm. So like after like the 10th take, like her arm was so sore, and I'm like, I'm
poor thing.
Sorry, Bella. She's like, it's okay. Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh, they have such great chemistry. I've seen all those interviews. But for you to come on as just a short part role, that can be intimidating. I think there's such big players on set, and you felt welcomed, right?
I feel like it's up to them. I feel like it's always up to the lead of the show. Like they carry the responsibility to make sure that the environment that the day players or the guests or whoever comes in feels safe and welcomed and ready to work. And they did just that. Like I never felt like, oh my God, like intimidated in the sense that screwed me in any way. Like I just felt like, okay, we're ready to work. Come on, let's go, let's do it. Everybody was so invested in the projects. Like you could tell how much people, like everybody in the crew, like everyone,
Beautiful.
like they really wanted to bring this story to life as true as they could, and you could sense that. And I didn't even clue in like how big it was, because even like my scene, because like people kept getting like super excited, like people from my hometown, and I was like, I just want to make clear that I'm in one scene, and they're like, no, this is amazing, like you have no idea like how big the show is and like how pivotal the scene is. Huge. They were like, take it, just take it. And I was like, okay, thank you.
Yes. And did you audition for the role, or were they like,
I did. It was actually my third audition for the show.
Wow.
Yeah. So you never know. Yeah, which was the best one, to be honest. Like,
oh yes.
Like I auditioned for a mom holding a little baby, and then I also auditioned for a teacher that had like a group of kids that was guiding a choir or something like that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then the last one was the nurse, which was funny because I was like, I knew like they were getting like towards the end of filming the last episode, so I was like, this is probably my last chance to audition for the show.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, and I got it.
That is fabulous, and that is just like a great trajectory for you, and you're on the up and up. So proud of you. Congratulations. And let's get you in part 2. Because your face was covered.
My face was covered.
No one's gonna know. Now, I wanted to say, going into kind of back to auditioning again, like, have you ever faced any harsh criticism? Because I always need to have confidence, and I'm a very sensitive person, and I feel like the acting world, you have to have maybe thick skin, or you don't have to, but just tell me a little bit about handling criticism, if any.
You know what? I think I've lucked out because, like, as I mentioned, I started like right when pandemic started. So I started beginning of 2020, and all of my auditions are self-tape. Like I've never been.
It's always screen.
Yeah. So like I've never been live in the room, which sometimes it works because then it gives you the advantage to, like, if I had a long day or whatever, and I can tape the audition at 10 at night if I want, as long as I get it into whatever the deadline is.
Wow.
But then at the same time, I really wish I could get that connection. Like I've never met the casting directors in person. Like I've done auditions for them several times, which kind of gives me an inkling. I was like, I don't know if I'm like, they like me, they don't like me. And my coach was saying, well, if they keep seeing you, that's a good indication that
is true.
You're on the right track. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So but I wish I could like cultivate that relationship personally. Right. And then it also gives you the opportunity, because sometimes when you're in the room, they can be like, oh, you know what, try that again. Or like, that's not really the tone we're going for. Like, could you maybe try it this way or do that? So I wish I had that, because I'm just going for like what I have on the page and my instinct and what I think they want to see.
You're going with your gut.
Yeah, but then it also works out because I send the audition and I'm like, okay, well then I'm done. Like I don't think about it anymore. Like, yeah, for sure. And then I move on to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten a no to my face. So
yes, I wonder if that is easier.
But I'm really good. I feel like I am really good at taking constructive criticism, except from my husband.
Same.
Yeah, like he can be like he can tell me something and be kind about it, like not rude or anything, and then I'd be so offended, and then you say the same thing and I'm like, true, thank you, and he'd be like, that's just what I said. I'm like, yeah, no, you can't say that to me.
Yeah, there's a time and place for criticism, am I right? Yeah. So well, no, that's really good. And it is crazy to think that we're 3 years into this pandemic, and I think we're still kind of in it, because I actually know several people who actually just got it. Yeah. I don't know how it is in Canada, unfortunately. So even with my work, I only met my coworkers a few times in person. So it's been always Zoom.
I've never even, I probably shouldn't say this, but I've never even met my agent in person.
That's fine. No, a lot of people have not met a lot of people. It's crazy.
But it is crazy.
We're 2D. Yeah, but hopefully you can do some in-person auditions. That'd be really fun for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So you are still an up-and-coming actor. I think it's so awesome. You're going to do so well. Do you have any advice for any actors? You seem so confident and just wise. And
Thank you. It's the acting. No,
You're
I'm kidding.
acting right now.
I think it's because it sounds like I'm just saying I just started in 2020, but what it took me to get to that starting point just in life and it's been a long journey. So I think what I would say first, I would ask them, like, and not to deter them, but more so to, like, are you sure, like, this is what to do with your life? Because if you're kind of like, like, it's not an easy road. Like you said, like, you're gonna have to face a lot of rejections. There's a lot of in between waiting. There's a lot of uncertainty. So, like, you have to be really certain that this is what you want to do with the rest of your life, or like for a brief period, or for however long. And just don't give up. Like, it's never too late. Like, it truly is never too late. Like, I feel like as an actor, our job is to tell human stories, and there's humans of all kinds, shapes, sizes, colors, ages. So it doesn't matter. Like, there's a place in this industry for you if you want it, and if you work hard enough to get it. It's what I would say. If you want it, go for it. Yeah.
That is such good advice too. And I like that you mentioned it doesn't matter what age. That's a huge thing. Oh, I can't remember. There's an actor I just saw who's older and they're just getting started. I'll have to figure it out. I'll leave it in the notes. But you know what's interesting? I did watch an interview with Pedro, and he's like the internet's daddy now. But I feel like I honestly didn't know him in the past.
Before,
so, yeah. How about you?
No, I did. Like, I had seen him in Narcos, and then like Mandalorian, and like I did what was it? Wonder Woman. Like, I had seen him in like his most iconic roles.
Okay. Well, there you go. I'm just so naive to it. But for me, he's older and he's
but I mean, that's my world.
But it is your world. No,
so
that's true.
I've always like lived, breathed it. Like, I love it. Like, don't you get tired? I'm like, no, this is amazing. I watch anything and everything I can get my hands on. Like,
Sure. So
how I study.
You do.
Or it's how I pretend like I study, and I'm like, oh, you're watching TV again? Yes, I'm working. Doing research.
When you're watching any show, you're studying. I feel like for your roles, whatever it is, or little tips and tricks. I watch the news and all of that. No, that's interesting. But let's move forward from the acting life and go back to like your personal life, and you can share as much or as little as you want.
For sure.
Like, what is your favorite hobby outside of auditioning? Do you have?
It's gotta be dancing for sure.
Dancing, because you started. You said 4 years old.
I started at 4 years old.
I love dancing
same school. Too. Like, I just recently went to Arizona. Like, my school that I dance at, it's run by 3 teachers. They're sisters. Wow. And they're basically like my second moms. My mom jokes, and she's like, that's actually your first house. And I'm like, yeah, that is my first home. Like, our house was just kind of, so then we went to Arizona for spring break, and they actually came. They drove from, like, they did the 6-hour drive just to see me, and like just to be able to like squeeze in a hug. And so they're like, we have a great relationship. And I'm very lucky. And that was actually one of the cool things about pandemic too, because every year I go back in the summertime, where it's the dance season, like their final presentation of the year type thing. And I go like a couple months or a month, and I go and I train and I help with the toddlers class, and then I dance as well. But I haven't been able to do it since pandemic. But during pandemic, I lucked out because then they were doing their classes online. So then I got the opportunity to like take classes and train and dance with them. So for sure. And that was part of it. One of the reasons why I
believe.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It is. And it gets me in touch with my emotions and love. Lots of what I learned in dancing, I applied to my acting, just like simple things, which are huge, simple, but huge, like from the breath, from like I think that's what helps me to I think that's what helps me to with like confidence, and like the criticism, and also with knowing how to, because this is my vessel, like my body is my vessel for my work, so knowing how to move it and how to adjust. And
that is so
dancing
cool.
For sure.
And is it what kind of dance? Jazz
and tap.
Jazz and tap. I did tap, and it was the worst. I'm a dancer, like just for fun. I've always had a rhythm. I love dancing. I was actually dancer of the day on Ellen. I don't know if you saw my video.
Oh my God! Were you really?
I just winged it. I was actually dancing with Twitch, But when it comes,
so cool.
oh yeah, oh, it was the best. It was a song called Walk It Out, and I just kind of went with whatever I was feeling in that moment. But when I was little, my grandparents signed me up for tap dancing, and something about instructions, I couldn't handle it. I was so bad. There's a tape, and I will never ever do a dance class again. I need to just be free.
That's fair. Yeah, for sure.
I would love to see her dancing. Does your husband dance too?
Not really.
No.
He likes to do it.
Yeah.
And he's always like, how come you never teach me how to dance? Like, he means like partner dance. And I was like, I don't know how. Like, I can teach you jazz and tap and like do routines or with a group, like an ensemble, but like partner dance like that. And he's like, no, BS. And I'm like, no, for real. He's like, you just don't want to teach me. And I'm like, I would love to, like we can take lessons together if you want, but
sure. How about performing arts? Have you thought about that? Because that's some sort of acting. Because tapping, like any musicals, would you be interested in doing that?
Yes, for sure. Like, I've always wanted to do a musical. Like, we did musicals. We did put on musicals like typical like Grease and like Aladdin and like at my dance studio. So I got to do a little bit of both. And I think that's part of why I wanted, like, I waited, besides like all the life stuff that happened, that I waited so long to start, was because I wanted to get all my dancing years out. Not that they're completely out, but it demands, like, I just was focused on that like 110%. And I just wanted to do that because, you know, like a dancer's body can only hold on for so long. And I've already had like so many injuries and so many different ailments in my body that I was like, I just want to do this till I can.
Yeah.
And I still do it as a hobby, but like more like a professional. And I mean, I'm not like the most flexible dancer or like have like the highest
You're not
leg or like the best point. So then I knew, like, I was like, I always knew like I wasn't going to make it like big leagues, but I always knew that I always wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're dancing. That's such a great way to have a second hobby too, besides acting. Just kind of a stress reliever. No, I love that. So is that how you spend your free time, or do you have other things too?
You know what? Yep, just watching anything I can. Like music, and I love music. Like we have dance parties in our living room, and we just
your son can dance with you. And music is such a vessel to life. Life without music would be, I think,
so boring.
It would be
so sad.
Very, very true. And being an actor, I feel like you have to separate that sometimes from your personal life too. I know you've only done a few roles, but do you ever have to incorporate, or what is it called? Is it method acting, where you like literally become the person 24/7? Do you ever feel like you would become
I have not done that yet. Not yet, but I do remember when we were in school, I did a really hard play that was hard for me because it was dealing with abuse, and I think they were even like raping me. So that was like a really hard scene. And I always felt like I was like, because someone had asked me like, are you okay? Like afterwards, and I'm like, no, I'm totally fine. Like the scene's done and it's done. You know what? It's done.
Go back home.
And then I realized one day, like after we did the performance, like I came back and I was just like shaking, and my sister was like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, oh, I think it just affected me more than like I thought. Because in that moment, you don't even, or I should say, I don't even realize. I'm just like in the moment, I fully believe I'm the character and I'm that person. And like, so it took me a little bit to separate from.
That's what I was thinking.
From that place.
Wow, that is actually.
But then you surround yourself with things that you know are safe and happy and make you smile, and you're like, okay, let it go. It happened. Wasn't actually real. I wasn't in actual danger.
Yeah, I can imagine that though, because you go home to your husband and you're in a whole different feel. It'd be kind of hard to shut that off at times. No, but thank you for sharing that. It seems like an intimate kind of role. Now, let's get all sappy. Are there anything that makes you happy and that makes you feel fulfilled in life and just general? I feel like everyone has such different opinions on what makes them happy in this life during these really unprecedented times too.
For sure.
What keeps you going?
I think it goes, and you know what? I just realized, like as I'm talking, I feel like it all goes back to what draws me to acting for me, what makes me happy is the human connection, like being able to connect with someone, my loved ones, my friends, like sometimes even strangers or new friends, like just having that moment and listening and being vulnerable and being in the moment, and obviously like seeing the world through my little guy's eyes. That's always a blast. He's so funny.
And how old is he?
I mean, obviously I'm biased, but he's 6.
He's 6. Yeah. 6 is an interesting age too. I like that. See the eyes do your
He's very sassy. He's very sassy. I don't know where he gets that from.
Is he a Taurus too? I'm kidding.
No. He's a Capricorn. So
I'm a Capricorn too.
Yeah,
I'm born in January.
Baby.
Yay! When's his birthday? Mine's the 12th of January.
Oh, so close. His is the 9th.
Hey, no wonder we get along. January and Taurus. I don't know anything about astrology.
Yeah, me neither. No. I just know that those both are like Earth, like stubborn signs. But other than that, I don't know much.
Nice. I have really no more questions for you, so I wanted to take this time to just kind of like ramble, and I can even like edit some of this too. Like, I can kind of get personal too. So, mental health, I'm such an advocate for it because my mom actually suffers from bipolar disorder, and she actually lives in a group home, and so I get to see her every so often. But I was gonna say, how is it in Canada, like mental health? Do you deal with mental health issues, or do you have family members or friends that you know of with mental health?
I do, all of the above. And I think we're very lucky in Canada to be part of the healthcare system that is supplied by the government. And I mean, sometimes there's ups and downs, obviously, because there's such high demand that sometimes you can be 6 months out or 3 months out to get to see a therapist or the help that you require. But but once you do, like, I see even like I see my psychologist once a month. Like I believe in seeing a psychologist as part of like a routine checkup type thing. Like we're not just a body, we are a body and a mind, and the mind is such a powerful, complicated organ.
And it can affect physical self too.
For sure. That it deserves the same kind of respect and attention as the rest of the body does, because it's not separate, it's a whole thing. Like my family doctor explained it like perfectly, which I'm totally going to butcher because I'm not a car person. But like he explained it like with a car analogy, being like you can't just take care of like the body, you also got to take care of the engine. In this case, like the engine's the brain. So like treat you as a whole. My family doctor is awesome. So he'll be like, he just referred us to a psychologist just as part of our mental and regular health. So, and I think it's so important, especially if you don't have someone to, because not everybody gets the opportunity that they have that person in their life that they trust with. Or sometimes you don't want to burden them or whatever. And you just need like an outside. So then I'm all for having a psychologist for anyone and everyone who wants it.
Therapy is huge, especially in this industry. I've seen so many interviews where I feel like people talk about like mental health, but I feel like it can really take a toll, especially with acting too. That's a lot on your mental health. And you want to be able to express how you feel to others, and
also to understand it gives me a better understanding of like the human self and the emotions, and like how does your mind work, and that I feel like that just makes me a better actor and helps me bring that part of that understanding into the roles that I play or portray.
No, I really like that. Thank you for sharing that too.
No problem.
Thank you. Do you ever? Yeah, sure. Do you ever feel like you're not good enough for this industry and you want to revert back to dancing or another career? Have you ever had that mind, or not yet?
Or not yet. I don't think so. I think it's and not in a, I just truly like it's in my blood. My blood and my veins and my being. Like I just 1000%. This is what I wanted. I'm sure there's gonna still, because my so when I got Tribal, that was like the first audition I did for a big show, and it was a recurring role. Like I was in
you're in 4
or 5 episodes for 4 episodes of 10 or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And my husband's like, just so you know, like, it's not always this way. Like, that's pretty amazing. Like, I was like,
you're optimistic. I can tell you're optimistic. I like that about you.
Thank you. So then, no, like I said, like, I'm not saying it's going to be, because I'm just getting started, and I'm sure it's going to be a long way, and there's going to be obstacles along the way. But I believe I can overcome them. And if I keep working and, keep believing in myself, I keep doing the work outside and inside of the acting world, I truly believe I can make it. I can follow my dreams and get there.
I love that. And I want to mention too, we're both people of color. I know things are different in the United States and Canada, but and I want to know, like, if being a person of color has ever crossed your mind in the acting world too. I mean, there's certain roles that I probably will never get because I'm a person of color. Have you ever thought about that? I don't know if it's talked about a lot in the industry.
For sure. You know, I think it's more, which, I mean, I hate this word, but right now I feel like, and not everyone, but I do feel like they get into like little trends.
Yes.
Which I don't like at all, because we're not a trend. We are human beings. So I really aspire and I really hope that we get into a place in the human existence where, like, it just boggles my mind, honestly. Like, I'm gonna ramble a little bit because it just, like, it infuriates me so much. And my husband's always like, you're never gonna understand it because your brain doesn't work that way. So for you, it's inconceivable. I'm like, who in history, and I know there's a million different reasons, political and all this thing, but I'm like, who in history decided that just because you have a different skin color,
to define who the heck you are,
different, or like you're less than, like, that just boggles my mind. Like, that would never, like, enter my mind, like, it's at all. Like, I don't understand it. So I feel like right now more so, like, there'll come a role and it'll say all ethnicities, but in reality I'm like, that role's already casted. Just like when they do big productions and they come, like, you know, the leads are already casted.
That's interesting.
But they still have to get like a certain number, especially like if you're out of country, a production that's out of country, like you need a certain number of locals to audition for the show in order for like tax breaks and all this and blah, blah, blah.
It's such a behind. See, this is exactly what I wanted to like talk about, like kind of like the behind the scenes and the truth behind it.
So you still audition for it, and I'm not saying that's always the case. No, but I just know that is the case sometimes. But you still go for it because you never know. And sometimes it's the reverse too. Sometimes it'll be like female, white, and you're like, why am I even auditioning for this? Like, is it right? But there's lots of, like, I've heard a lot of interviews where people are like, no, that was written like specifically for like a blonde, blue eye, fair skinned person. But I went and did the audition. They love it and they adapted the character. So sometimes it's just like, so you never know. But I do feel like there's like a little bit, it looks to me in my eyes, and I could be totally wrong, but there's like a little bit of a formula. Like, we need 2 people of color, we need like 1 Hispanic, 1 Asian, 1, and you're like, oh, well, then you already covered that one. You already got that one person.
That
like,
one.
It's more like,
So interesting now.
And it's funny because like I got I'm just trying to see what I can say and I can't say. I got a role for something and I got it. And it said, undetermined minority. And I was like, because my husband's like, because we're always like, my husband's white, by the way. But we always talk, we're very open and we talk about this, and he's like, because I've gotten this, like, you're not Mexican enough.
I was going to say,
like, white enough. So you're kind of like, and I'm like,
that kind of messes with your head. But for you, it doesn't seem like the color of your skin or who you are defines you. We're all human at the end of the day, and you're going to put in your best effort for an audition, no matter what.
Yeah,
I would say even
like and a great example is just like, just kids in general. Like, I truly believe, like, the more I get to the more I have the privilege to raise my son, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is truly like, we truly do, like, the world, the circumstances, like everything, we really truly like screw you guys up. Like, you're not born that way. Like, I remember like a long time ago, like he was tiny and it was Super Bowl. So the TV was on because he only gets segue. He only gets screen time every certain days, but that doesn't matter. But that day was Super Bowl. So like the whole house was watching. And he's like, I want the black ones to win. The black ones will win. And husband's like,
what?
And then I'm like, no, watch this. What do you mean the black ones, Papa? Well, those ones, the ones that are wearing the black uniform. I want the blue ones, not the blue ones. And we're like, see, like it's not even in them. They're like he wasn't even like looking at the people. He was just looking at the uniforms, like the black ones versus the white ones. And we're like, excuse me, the what? They're like, yeah, the uniforms. We're like, oh, yeah,
oh, now I see it. Course. But no, kids are so, you can learn from kids too, and they don't see
so
color.
much.
I hate when
which is what I love.
Yeah.
About, like, I've always loved kids and like teaching. Like I always felt like if I didn't go into acting, like I would be a kindergarten teacher. But then again, I was like, but I also want to do this and this and this and this and this. Oh, thank you. So that's
I wanted to be a teacher too. I always thought that. I have a couple family members who are in the teaching realm, and they absolutely love it. And it's actually my cousin, and he has a whole book of letters that the kids wrote, like what they want to be when they grow up, or what do they want to change in the world. And it's just so pure. They're little emotions. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us? With the world? Anything?
I just want to, well, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
For inviting me, and thank you for anyone who's watching. And please follow your dreams, whatever they are. Be kind to one another.
That is.
Work hard. Have courage. And go be happy.
Be happy. Thank you so much.
Whatever that means for you.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your dreams.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're absolutely incredible. Oh, I can't wait to see you do big things. You are doing big things. I'm ready for it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.